Well, thank you, Mike. Sorry about my mic camera not working. Very
That's okay.
unfortunate. I saw you guys just did Louder Than Life over in Kentucky, right? How was that?
It was amazing. We did two big festivals on this run. We did Louder Than Life in Kentucky, and we did Aftershock in California, and it was great. I mean, those U.S. festivals over here are just massive. So yeah, it was great to play them.
While we're talking about touring, of course, like Dream Theater is set to come back to Australia for the first time in 2017. You yourself, I don't believe, have come back to Australia since the Shattered Fortress tour with Haken around the same time. So, what are you most looking forward to about coming back and playing to these Australian audiences?
The obvious answer is looking forward to being back with Dream Theater back in Australia. You know, last time those guys were there, they were there without me, and the last time I was there without them. So it'll be nice to be back together, back in Australia.
And of course, you guys are also set to release, the first Dream Theater's live album in 5 years, and you guys have been touring with this amazing career-spanning set list. Can Aussies expect a similar set list from the live album, or are you guys going to throw in a few interesting curveballs our way?
It'll be a combination of what's on the live release that's coming up, which is pretty much the 40th anniversary show. And we are
Mm.
currently out in America doing a Parasomnia show. So what we're going to do in Australia will be a combination of both. But I'm not going to give too much away because there's already enough setlist spoilers out there without me spoiling it. So you don't need
Mm.
me spoiling it.
I know like you've been talking a lot about playing Mangini songs on this tour, and also like getting the chance to like play these songs again. So in your opinion, what's sort of been like the standout song to pull out in the set list for you most nights?
Playing those Mangini era songs has been fun for me. It's something new and unique, which I haven't
Mm.
played with Dream Theater. So that always provides some sense of something new and fresh. So that's very fresh for me. But we've also really enjoyed playing the Parasomnia album as we are on this tour. It was written as a concept album to be performed from start to finish, almost like watching a movie. So it's been very
Mm.
satisfying doing that. I don't think we're going to play the whole thing in Australia because we have one tour down there to kind of cover everything. So we won't play the
Mm.
entire album, but we'll play a good portion of it, and it's been really great and fresh playing this new material.
I know you guys have just like, yeah, gearing up for like your 40th anniversary, which is, that massive milestone for you guys. And being able to still write music as good as you guys are writing it and performing these new songs um to these audiences and they're still connecting with it is must feel so rewarding in its own way, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
While we're also talking about milestones, Dream Theater, of course, earned its first Grammy back in 2023, I believe. And you guys also, I saw you performed Pink Floyd's Echoes at the Roman Amphitheater. Do you have any other career bucket list achievements that you'd like to hit?
There's still a few. There's just certain venues that we haven't played that are kind of bucket list venues. Like this coming weekend, we're playing at the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island, which is
Mm.
where at least three of us grew up seeing concerts. I saw everybody from Paul McCartney and Wings there in '76. I saw Kiss with Judas Priest opening in '79, and Rush and Maiden and Floyd and Ozzy and Sabbath. So yeah, that's a legendary venue on Long Island that we haven't played yet, which is a bucket list moment. And yeah, we still haven't played the Royal Albert Hall in London is another one we'd love to play, or the LA
Mm.
Forum. We haven't played there yet as well, or the Hollywood Bowl. So yeah, there's still these little like benchmarks that are nice to be able to check off the list.
How has it been, like, now being back in Dream Theater for a while? You've written a new album together, and I'm assuming you're still working on new ideas. How has that all been, collaboratively, like, as the chemistry has been growing and growing, throughout, this tour?
Well, we don't write on the road. We write when it's time to write and make an album. So
Mm.
we made Parasomnia in 2024. We wrapped it by the end of summer of 24. So it's been over a year now, over a year and a half or so since we made the record. It was the first
Mm.
thing we did once I rejoined the band. So yeah, the creative process at that point was really exciting and inspired. We hadn't made a record together since the Black Clouds and Silver Linings, which was almost 15 years prior. So it was
Mm.
very exciting to be making music together again and writing and creating and arranging music together again. But to be honest, since the tour began a year ago, that's our focus now. When we're
Mm.
touring, we're touring. When we're in the studio, that's when we're writing. So they're very much two separate processes.
I know, like, you listen to a lot of music, and you've been talking a lot about what your favorite, albums have been this year. What's something you've been listening to right now? Is there, like, something that's caught your ear that you just keep going back to, or is there, like, an album that's, like, totally blown you away?
This band from France called Igor with three R's. I absolutely
Mm.
love their new album. It's one of my favorite albums of the year, if not the favorite. It's kind of like death metal meets like European chamber music. It's really bizarre stuff. I like the new Steven Wilson album a lot. There's a band from Denver called Blood Incantation, which is very like Opeth meets Pink Floyd. I really love that a
Yeah,
lot. The new Cardiacs album is a favorite. That's a band from the UK, I believe, and they hadn't put out an album in decades. The main writer of the band passed away a few decades ago, so they
yeah.
finally put out a new album of all the stuff that they were able to finish up without him. So that's some of the stuff that's on my list. My son's band Tala, I love their new album. That's one of my favorites of the year. So that's some of the top picks that I'm listening to at the moment.
I know, like, Cardiac's had, Mike Vennott from Oceansize join it, and he's talking about how
Yeah,
cool it's been joining your favorite band, and I'm like, "Man, it's like, what an encouraging and wholesome story from him, because he's also just, like,
yeah.
one of the
I
best."
know how that I know how that feels because I joined Twisted Sister after they were one of my favorite bands when I was a teenager.
Mm.
So I had that experience. And then my son had that experience when he joined Code Orange, who was one of his favorite bands. So it's pretty amazing when you have situations like that,
Mm.
that fate sometimes works in strange ways that you can never predict.
Yeah, definitely, and I know you've spoken recently about even, getting to play with Kiss's guitarist, I believe at, like, a birthday tribute, I believe, a few years back. Have you been returning to that material since, the guitarist passed away?
Well, yeah, losing Ace is a big one for me. I was a Kiss fanatic back in the '70s. I saw them in '77 at Madison Square Garden. I saw them in '79 at the Coliseum, like I just
Mm.
mentioned. And Ace was my first real guitar hero. Even though I was a drummer, he was my favorite member of Kiss, and my nickname in elementary school even was Ace. So yeah, it's been a tough one to process. I've been listening to a lot of old Kiss stuff and revisiting some of the great old shows that are on YouTube. And yeah, like you mentioned, I was fortunate enough to have played with both Ace and Peter back in 2013 when I was the musical director at Eddie Trunk's 30th anniversary concert. So yeah,
Mm.
um, I have a lot of history as both a fan and a fellow musician with Ace, and it's a really difficult loss.
Well, as a curveball and to bring, a lighter tone back, I'm so sorry. Um, so you recently took Drumeo Numa Challenge, which asked you to play Tool's 12-minute epic from front to back. Um, looking back, would there have been another band or another song that you have absolutely been terrified to take on?
No, they pretty much nailed it with that. That was quite the challenge, and to be put on the spot like that. It's not like you could prep for something like that. So you're put on the spot with 10 cameras rolling in real time. So yeah, that
Mm.
was pretty much the ultimate challenge. I mean, I suppose there's more technical stuff they could have given me, like an Animals as Leaders song or a Meshuggah song. There's some drummers and some bands that are just you know physically difficult to play. I don't think anything Danny Carey plays with Tool is out of my wheelhouse. I mean, it's all very very comfortable to me to play that style. It's just that those parts, those guys spend years and years developing them. So for somebody to be put on the spot and has to nail it within an hour or two, it's
Mhm.
that's a pretty big challenge. But I'm glad I was able to rise to the occasion and do my best. It
Yeah.
wasn't perfect, but it was my best.
No, it was really solid. There was a video that was going viral last week of this 19-year-old drummer playing all of Tool's discography, like all 7 hours
Yeah,
of
I
it,
saw that.
front to back, which is just like I cannot imagine because 'cause you're normally used to, like, doing 3-hour shows and whatnot, but could you like, when you saw somebody doing, like, 7 hours of it, like, what was your first reaction to hearing that number?
uh, what else can you say? It's fucking insane. You know, that's
Yeah.
insane. It's crazy. I mean, a friend of mine at Drumeo, Brandon, that's like the host of Drumeo. He did after Neil Peart passed away. He did a thing for Drumeo where he played through every single Rush song in chronological order, but it was excerpts. It wasn't the entire song like this Tool thing. It's crazy the shit that you see on YouTube these days.
Yeah. Drummers on Instagram and YouTube are doing, like, the wildest challenges, but it's cool at the same time because I think it's, like, inspiring new generations of drummers to get into the instrument and can reconsider it, which is always really cool. Cause yeah, like for the longest time, I know like you were like a huge, I want to say torchbearer for getting people into drums. So it's um, it's very cool to see these new people come up and find new ways into it for sure. Something I want to also ask, because I know you're a huge movie buff, and I know you're in love with the movie One Battle After Another. So I want to ask you, how many Oscars do you think it's going to pick up?
I think it could potentially sweep them. I think it could get picture, it could get director, could get screenplay. DiCaprio can get actor, Sean Penn could get actor or supporting actor. I think it stands a good chance. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson's been nominated 11 times and he's yet to win. So I think
Mm,
this is the one for him. He should have won for There Will Be Blood. You know, but for whatever
yeah,
reason, I think now is his time. I think it's one of those movies that I think is you know a critically acclaimed, and it's also the fans are behind it, the critics are behind it. It did well at the box office, although it's got a huge price tag on it that is going to have to recoup. But I think it's P.T. Anderson's biggest box office film as well. So yeah, I think it could be P.T. Anderson's year finally.
I've always loved what you've done on like songs like Honor Thy Father, where you've like spliced even like some of his movie lines in it. And I know like when you've come back, there's that like those little audio clips in like the first track on Parasomnia, and I'm like, oh, this is classic Portnoy. Yes.
Yeah,
Um, so how has that sort of been like also going back at the wheel and also flexing those sorts of lines in those tracks?
yeah, I always uh, loved including movie samples in our songs. I mean, it goes back as early as the Awake album. There's samples in 6 o'clock and Space Divest, and then if you listen to Images and Words, it's got a sample from Cinema Paradiso, as well as samples from Frank Zappa and Public Enemy and stuff like that. And then
Mm,
Change of Seasons is filled with samples from Dead Poet Society or Party for Five or Table for Five. Then yeah, Honor Thy Father had a whole bunch of stuff in there from Magnolia and a bunch of other films. So yeah, it's something that I've always enjoyed doing. And when we were making this new record, we wanted it to be very cinematic. So actually, I brought in some samples from the movie Waking Life, which was Richard
mm,
Linklater's film about sleeping and dreaming and stuff like that. So I figured that would be appropriate given the nature of parasomnia.
I didn't catch that movie. Yeah, so no, it's good to have the
Yeah,
name actually.
well, I hope me giving this away isn't going to open a lawsuit, but the fact is, Richard Linklater's voice is what closes the Parasomnia album. He gets the last
Oh.
word on the album.
Nah, I'm sure you'll be fine. Very much so. So I'm aware of time, so sorry. So just to wrap up, I know you guys had to cancel your plans for a future European tour next year. Could you share what your plans are for 2026 right now outside of the Australian tour?
You used the right phrase. We canceled our plans. A lot of people misinterpreted that as canceling a tour, but that tour never
Mm,
existed. It was a hypothetical plan that we had, and we ended up just changing our plans. Sometimes plans change. So we
mm,
decided not to go back to Europe for a third time, and instead use that time that we had allotted for some other plans that will be announced soon. But we had already
mm,
been to Europe twice on this tour, And both tours there were the biggest and best, most successful tours that we've ever had in Europe.
Mm,
So people should not misinterpret our plans of changing as any sort of canceled tour, because that's not the case at all. But in any case, the plan is we have, along with the Australian run in January, in February and March, we also have a lot of Asian shows we're doing, Japan and Korea and Singapore and Dubai and Malaysia and Indonesia. So that whole January through March window will be for Asia and Australia, and then we'll have some more stuff that will follow that hasn't been announced yet. The plan all along was to be on the road through next spring. We started this tour a year ago, October of
mm,
2024, and now here we are a year later. We're still going here in America, but when all said and done, the entire tour cycle will be about a year and a half, wrapping up
mm.
by next spring.
Thank you so much. Was there anything you wanted to add before we wrap up?
No, just looking forward to coming back down there. Those guys were there without me last time, and I was there without them last time. So it's going to be great being back together, back down under.